Cheeves is good. That's not copyrighted. That's just me.
And Cheeves.
And you can see Cheeves too if you watch the video version of this podcast.
Yeah. Check out Cheeves.
Check out Cheeves.
Yeah, Harley has changed his name to Cheems.
Yeah, we're very proud of him of that.
Yeah, he's feeling very adventurous. You know, he's exploring his options.
So fresh, so clean, so bozers. Yeah.
Yeah.
I still don't have a question for this episode.
Well,
I'd like to make that clear.
Great start.
Yeah, great start. I guess we'll wing it from here. Hello everyone.
Hi.
Hello.
Hey.
welcome to this week's episode of A Piece of Our Minds, a podcast about the creative process from the perspective of three amateur creators / artists. My name is Zander, and I'm joined as always by my two. What kind of adjective am I feeling this week?
Scrumptious.
Scrumptious. Okay, my two. I don't want to say that. My two glamorous friends. Glamorous is good. Aaron and Harley.
Hi, I am Harley. I am Xander's glamorous friend.
And I am Aaron, and I am Xander's other glamorous friend.
Welcome. And I am Zander, and I am not glamorous.
No, you're scrumptious.
Thank you. Thank you. Like, comment, and subscribe if you think I'm scrumptious.
Everyone's just like,
no, everyone unsubscribes.
Write a review for us and have a scale of 1 to 10 how scrumptious Zander is.
Yeah. If you think I'm scrumptious, write a review on Apple Podcasts. If you don't think I'm scrumptious,
leave a comment.
Write a review on YouTube. On Apple Podcasts.
If you don't think he's scrumptious, leave a comment on the YouTube video.
Yeah.
Oh God. Well, off to a great start. Okay, for this week, before we get into the topic this week, I feel like it'll flow better if we start with what we've been working on this week. Talk about that a little bit. So I think I'll go first, and I'm very proud to announce that I am officially a third done with the first draft of
Nice.
of No One's Alone at the End of Time.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm really proud. Yeah, I finished exactly where I wanted the third act to be a few days ago. I just sat down and banged out like 5 pages. I was proud of myself.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's impressive.
Damn.
And it's I was rereading it too, and it, like I didn't hate it like a few days later, which is always a good sign.
I didn't hate it.
So that always happens. Like
it's always good.
Yeah, you always sit there and you look back at it and you're like, this is terrible.
If you don't hate it, then it works.
Yeah.
So
I'm proud of that.
What's next for your story, like in terms of developing it?
Everyone dies.
Everyone dies eventually. Yeah. I'm kidding. No, what's next? I think is going to be okay. So at the end of the first act, there's an event that happens that's basically going to springboard what the entire like second act and third act of the story is going to be, and also there's a lot of it set up a lot of foreshadowing with the dynamic between the main villain and the two protagonists of the story. The main villain, Aeon, and the two protagonists, Tom and Imera. There's a little I sprinkled in because I know exactly what their dynamic is instead of just winging it, and like what the reveals are going to be about who these characters are in relation to each other. And so I started sprinkling in little clues and foreshadowing as to what that might be.
Nice.
Yeah. Because like different characters, some of them know more than the other ones. Some of them know a lot less than the others.
Very nice. Nice.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. So that was very fun to write, and I think very productive.
Dude, I'm proud of you, man.
Thank you.
It's always fun to like be writing something and you know where it's gonna go, and you like to like leave hints there as to what's gonna happen next.
Yeah, foreshadowing is such a fun thing. Foreshadowing would be a good future episode.
That's true. Yeah. That would be a good one.
Yeah. Not today though, because I already have notes. Because I already have this one prepared. Later date. So Harley, I suppose.
Yeah. I've haven't done much writing. Like
Mhm,
I've written every day, but like I haven't gotten much done
mhm,
in
mhm.
the grand scheme of things. I've gotten a little bit more like just Lane alone and him just talking to himself.
Mhm.
And I want to keep working with that because I think that'll really flush out his character a lot.
Mhm. Mhm.
And besides that, I've been doing a lot of reading lately. I've been
Okay.
reading a lot and like
Mhm.
just been thinking about what I would like, how I want to develop my writing, and
Mhm.
that's about it. I haven't gotten much writing done, but you know what? That's all right
That's fine.
because I've still got time.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
And
you
so
still have lots of time.
yeah,
An
yeah,
indefinite amount of time.
Yeah.
yeah,
In fact.
yeah. And so I haven't gotten much done in writing wise, but I think I've gotten a lot done in like the thinking aspect of it, where it's like developing like my own thoughts about the story and where
Mhm.
I wanted to take it.
Thinking's important.
Yeah.
You gotta think.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Whether you get a little bit done or a lot done, as long as you make progress.
A little
That's
bit
what-
or
Yeah.
a lot of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's good. Like we talked about like 2 episodes back with the staying motivated. It's good to like keep up with just exposing yourself to other media that you can look up to as
Yeah.
uh what's the word?
Inspiration.
Inspiration, that's the word. Oh my god.
And
Okay.
I've been listening to a lot of music too,
Mm.
and like it's surprising how much music actually like tells a story
Oh
throughout the
yeah.
song.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah. For
You
sure.
see, like it seems like nowadays a lot of songs they either don't like mean anything at all
Mhm.
or they tell like a direct story, and I think that's
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah.
kind of interesting.
Mhm.
I was
So
actually having a conversation about that with one of my other friends, like about music and like how it tells a story. So I find
Mhm.
that funny that it's being brought up again on the podcast.
It's
yeah,
interesting. Yeah.
Like I was literally just talking about that with someone.
Yeah. And that just shows like how there's so many different like storytelling mediums out there
yeah,
for like
definitely.
Yeah.
to express what you want to say.
Yeah.
That's really cool to me.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Aaron,
Yeah.
how about you,
Aaron.
bud?
So
Harley, I asked the questions.
Hey, just because you're the host doesn't
Hey
mean I can't
man.
ask questions. All
Hey
right,
man.
Oh my god.
So
just because you got the good mic.
You're right.
I've
Right.
just been watching movies. Like I haven't been like studying different techniques. I've been focusing on just watching movies. So the movies that I've been watching, I watched $1 Million Baby, which the lighting they used in that movie I really liked. It's a lot of like bright lighting with like dark silhouettes. And it's a great film. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I watched Ollie with Will Smith, and that was interesting. Like I felt like in some areas they could have done a little bit better since it's obviously like a true story.
Mhm.
But Will Smith did a good job individually. I
Mhm.
felt like.
What's that
Oh,
movie
yeah.
about? I haven't.
It's
Muhammad Ali.
Oh, I was thinking like Ollie, like a basketball Ollie. I don't know.
Oh.
you mean you mean an alley oop?
Yeah, or like, isn't an Ollie's a something like
An ollie is a skateboarding trick.
that's what I was thinking. I was thinking of like God, I'm so stupid. Okay, that's what I was thinking of. Okay,
I watched
okay.
The Notebook.
Yo,
finally
I was
watched
gonna.
The
I
Notebook.
actually, I need to watch
Very
that.
good movie.
Dude, it was a good movie.
I have
great
not seen it
movie.
yet.
I'm
That
not
is
gonna
on.
lie.
It's
It's on
very good
Netflix
movie.
right now.
Is it okay? That's on my like to watch very very soon list.
I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure that's Holden's favorite movie. My brother.
Really?
Yeah,
It's so good.
Okay.
So
it's
good.
got. I'm
Mhm.
pretty sure it's his favorite movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like the development of the story is just it's so good. Like
Mhm.
I really liked it. I'm a sucker for love story movies, you know,
Mhm.
like The Notebook. So
Well, I have some suggestions for you, Aaron, if you do, if you don't mind.
We're not gonna get back down into the rom-com rabbit
No, it's
hole.
literally no. It's two movie. It's two movies that I watched in the past week that really hit me, and I wanted to talk about them a little bit. Okay.
And then I did watch a rom-com last night. Actually, it's He's Just Not That Into You.
Yo, that's a great movie. I love that movie.
Yo, I watched it. I guess you could say like the main storyline with like the character Gigi.
Mhm.
I hated the storyline.
Really?
Because her character is just so annoying. I literally talked about this with one of our friends last night, and I was like, I can't stand the storyline. All the other storylines, I was like, yeah, this is good. Like
Ben
like,
Affleck and then like Scarlett Johansson, like
yeah,
those ones.
Bradley Cooper, like all those other ones. I was like, oh, that's good. But I liked it though. Like I was like, I've definitely seen worse rom-coms.
Oh my god!
No, I do like my rom-com.
Hot takes coming out towards the community. Okay, there are two movies I wanted to touch on quick before we jump into our main conversation about conflict. Sorry, no, there was one movie I watched that absolutely blew me away that I watched completely on a whim, and I was like, this is literally like honestly one of my new like top 5 favorite movies I've ever seen in my life. It was Juno. If either of you have seen that.
Fantastic movie.
I have not seen that.
Such a good movie.
So good. Like
so
it was the movie that as a movie felt the most real. Like felt more real than any other movie I've ever seen in my life. Like it just felt like this, like these were like actual people. This was like a thing that was happening. It was so grounded.
It also has one of the wittiest characters ever. I love
Juno.
Juno is so funny.
Juno's hilarious because it was nominated for best screenplay. I think it won best screenplay actually.
I think so.
Wow,
the writing is fantastic.
It's such a good movie. It's such a good movie.
The soundtrack was fantastic.
It's got Michael Cera.
It does have Michael Cera, and my parents kept being like, "Is that Jesse Eisenberg?" And I was like, "No." It's like, no, it's the other one. No, it has J.K. Simmons. It has
J.K. Simmons.
Yeah,
it does have J.K. Simmons.
He plays her dad, and it's
father,
and he's hilarious.
It's so good.
It literally everyone.
What is this on? What is this movie on?
I watched it on like my uncle has it on like a database that he shared with me.
Oh, nice.
So I watched it legally, but it's through like something.
Okay.
Yeah. No, but if you have the chance to watch Juno, oh my god.
It's such a good movie.
11 out of 10. Like literally it's like top 5 of my favorite movies now. Oh, I just really wanted to talk about that. I also watched Pride and Prejudice, which is on Netflix right now.
I've been seeing that one. I might watch it. I might not.
It was good.
There's other movies on my list.
Mm-hmm. The best thing about it, I'd say, personally at least, was the cinematography, because it's beautiful movie. Like there's so many shots in it where it's just like I just wanted like a screenshot of this and just like put it on my wallpaper. So less story, but the story was good.
Yeah. No, the movie that I would recommend if you guys haven't seen it, and it's on Netflix right now. It's called Spotlight, won Best Picture.
I need to see that. I do need to watch that.
It was so good. Like I was hooked from the very beginning. Like it was just well done.
I need to watch that.
Nice.
Okay. Well,
all right.
Although none of that had anything to do with what we're talking about
today.
It did not. Because today we're talking about conflict. So conflict, as you know, is what drives the plot of any story, because it's what your characters are struggling with. So I did not come up with any kind of icebreaker today, or like just starting question. Yeah. Because I couldn't think of anything good except for like maybe like, oh, what's your favorite like hero villain dynamic? But like conflict's a lot more than that, you know? Like
Well, like so. let me amuse Zander by talking about the rom-com that I watched last night. Like in rom-coms, there's always a constant conflict of like these people trying to get together. Like that's the conflict in a rom-com. And I mean, the point is like, I mean, know that they're going to end up together in the end of a rom-com,
Not
but it's how
always.
they get
Not
there.
always.
I
There's
guess
La
that's
La
true.
Land, Aaron.
That's true.
Don't forget La La Land.
Dude, spoilers.
Oh, whatever.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, dude.
If you haven't seen
Spoilers.
La La Land by now, come on.
But yeah, I mean, there's always that constant conflict between the two main characters.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, that's what makes freaking rom-coms so appealing. Is there's that constant conflict of like, are these two gonna like work out their differences or whatever and figure it
and
out?
it makes the audience feel like, okay, we know what we want, but
Mhm.
do they know that? Like,
Mhm.
do they see what we see?
Yeah.
So
Because that's a cool thing that Juno does with like that. Like, there's a ton of conflicts going on, but one of the like rom-com aspect of it doesn't really come in a whole lot. But it's interesting that it starts with like her getting pregnant because of them, and like that's like the starting point of them like building their relationship instead of like
yeah,
the end. Like them having a kid is not the end point; it's like the point A.
Yeah.
It's just like an interesting conflict.
Mhm.
yeah, that is interesting.
Mhm.
No, to me, a good example of conflict is in the Dark Knight trilogy. Because to me, it's not just between the villain and the hero. To me, it's like also an internal conflict too,
Yes.
like with Batman himself
Yeah.
and trying to figure out what he wants and what he wants to do. So that's another great example of
Yeah.
conflict.
I'm
The
glad.
many forms of conflict.
Yes, yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because the big thing I want to talk about was like internal and external conflict.
Yes.
And kind of like more like how it's portrayed in like mass media. Like, so like which of these do you think you see more in like traditional media, like in like a movie or a book?
I think when I read, it seems like it's more of a internal conflict. But when I watch movies, I mean, it depends on the movie.
Yeah, of course.
But I would say, like, in terms of what the director wants us to see, they really want us to see that external. But I think it's a really, really good movie when there's external and internal, when a movie can do both.
The thing about conflict in movies is that it's difficult to do like internal conflict because it's not like flashy or showy. It's not action. It's not like action packed and like. And external conflict is so much easier to like portray in movies, just because like oh, bad guy is over there.
Yeah, internal, like nailing internal conflict, I feel like is much more of a nuanced kind of thing.
It's
also, nuanced art.
It's difficult to do in movies because you don't actually know what the characters are thinking. And in like books and stuff like that, you have like the writing of like what the characters are thinking, and so like you know what they're dealing with.
And you can also like with like the different points of view. Like a movie's always from like third person limited or third person, like I forgot what the word is, where you don't know anyone's thoughts at any time. You're just observing what's going on. But books, you can actually hear that inner monologue, or like the narrator will be like, oh, this is exactly what this person is thinking right now. You don't have that kind of thing in movies.
And I think that's why I prefer books to movies. That's just my preference, just because I like that, and I like understanding what the characters are thinking, and it's easy for me to like, if there is like a conflict in a story, then it's like something like an external conflict. It's easy for me to like portray that in my mind. I have a very picture oriented imagination. And so like I can see that easily.
It seems like to me in movies, in order to really capture that internal struggle, you really have to centralize the character. Like whether it's the main character or some side character, you have to like really focus on them. A lot of your shots have to be focused on them in order for us to like, we have to physically see that struggle, because like you guys said, we can't listen to their thoughts. So
I'm trying to think of like a good movie example that like nails like a character like battling internally as like front and center. Like that's what the movie is.
What is
I would say
Tom Hardy movie? where it's
Venom?
just no, the other one where it's just him in
Mad
a car
Max Fury
driving.
Road. Mad Max Fury Road.
No,
Are
it's
you talking about
literally
when he's in a car? And he's just driving
he's
the
the
entire
he's
movie?
the only character in the film.
Mad Max
Yeah,
Fury Road.
he's just driving in a car.
Yeah,
Is
he's just like a taxi driver or something.
That's
I
a
forgot what
thing?
it is. Yeah,
it called Taxi Driver?
No, it's
Taxi Driver's
no.
that's
it's
the
supposed to be.
No, Taxi
Shut up,
Driver is a much
Xander.
older
I'm trying to
movie.
help. I'm trying to help.
It's
You're
not
not
helping.
doing a good job.
No, it's
Tell me how you
literally
really feel,
just
Aaron.
Tom Hardy, and he's driving, and it's just like his internal struggle the entire time.
Yeah,
And like they portray it in like the form of like hallucinations or like visions, kind of, where he like sees the people in the back seat.
Huh.
But like it's just his story and struggle that you get throughout the entire movie. And it's supposed to be really good. And I haven't seen it. I really want to because
And we don't know what it's called.
It's one of Tom Hardy's like most famous movies.
I know exactly what movie you're talking about. I haven't seen it either, but yeah, that's literally the entire movie is just Tom Hardy driving in this car, like struggling the entire time.
That's perfect.
But
like an internal conflict.
My only problem with that is like
Locke.
It's
That's what it's
just
called?
him.
It's called Locke.
With
That's
an E at the
right.
end, or just like
it is. It does have an E at the end. That is true.
But see, like that's my problem. Is it's like
Tom
just
Locke.
him, and it would be nice to see if there was like other elements to it, like other characters, and not just taking place in a car.
Mhm.
To me, really the number one example that comes to mind, and the most recent example, is probably Joker.
Yeah, I was thinking
honestly.
that.
Mhm.
Yeah, because that does
one-
that does a lot with like him dealing with his own problems and issues.
Emotions, yeah.
He, like how he's like making stuff up and stuff. You can see like into his psyche, like the things that he's like battling into.
Yeah.
I feel like there's more. I feel BoJack Horseman. I don't know if either of you guys have seen that show.
I have not. I've been meaning to, but I have not.
Well, you guys would love that show, but I feel like they do a lot of good stuff because like the main character BoJack is like many issues, and that's the point of the show, and like a lot of it is like him dealing with that kind of stuff. Like maybe he deals it by like talking to like the people in his life. Maybe they're not like really antagonists against him. They're just there to help him deal with that. So I guess that's one way to do like conflicts.
Yeah.
By way of like film and TV, by like not having any character against them, just having them against themselves, but they're interacting with other people.
Yeah. The other type of conflict, like other than just external and internal, like getting more specific, and I see this a lot in Stranger Things. Like obviously, like there's the main conflict with the Demogorgons and whatnot, but it seems like there's a lot of side conflicts, like whether there's tension between like two characters or like the main group of friends, like having those little side conflicts and those little subplots to me adds so much depth to a story. And you see it a lot more in shows rather than movies, because a movie, like they're trying to get from point A to point B, but like in a show you have a lot of time to work with. So I think like including side conflicts is like a great aspect to add to your story.
Definitely, yeah. Because that's okay, especially in a novel or a TV show. I feel like because like those are very like long-winded storytelling devices. Like a movie's super like succinct and to the point, unless it's like Lord of the Rings, which are not succinct and to the point, even though they are very good. But
continue. Sorry.
No, you can continue. I didn't really have anything to go. I was just going to vamp until I did. A little bit of looking into my mind.
Wow.
For my novel, I think Lane's internal struggles, like internal conflict, that is going to be the main issue throughout the entire novel.
Yeah.
I'm trying to make that the main conflict.
Yeah, because my next point I wanted to talk about was going to be what are we going to use in our stories that we're telling. So
I'm trying to make it so Lane's internal struggle is the main conflict throughout the entire story. And I'm just adding the external conflict and that external conflict just kind of helps push his main conflict forward. They're like outside.
Oh, okay. No, it's fine.
If you guys were
my
wondering
air conditioner has probably been running this entire time. Too.
If you guys, if anybody could hear the construction noises, they're like doing something to the house.
It's okay.
Yeah, but because I've always been a huge fan of like internal conflicts in like novels. That I think it's really important for characters to have that, and so I want the external conflict to be there just because like you need some of that, obviously. But I want it to be like backseat to what really needs to be brought forward, which is like his inability to like deal with his issues.
And,
yeah,
like, because that's that like you want your conflict to like align with what the themes and messaging that you're trying to get across are, and like through that tension in that battle, like say like what's the point you're trying to make about this thing. So like in my story, like the main conflict again is obviously going to be internal of like Tom figuring out like his place in this much bigger thing than what he's been used to. Like trying to figure out his place in that and just figure out what he's going to do about it and like what the right decision is. So like a lot of the themes are about like ambiguity and stuff. So Tom's main external conflict is like him versus this like voice in his head that's like kind of like it's kind of back there always. He's like, I don't know. He's like, I don't know what's going on. And like it's also this huge, super like ghost thing. Like
a literal god.
Every time I try to explain this story, I think a little part of me dies inside because I realize
you realize how like elaborate it is,
how complicated and kind of ridiculous it is. No, but it's Tom fighting this thing, this like super being that he doesn't know what it is, and he's just like, this thing is trying to do something, and I don't know what it's doing. And
man against God.
Yeah, man against God and himself.
Literally.
And man versus everything. Man versus food.
Man versus wild.
Yeah.
I have a question for you guys. So obviously you guys know like pretty much what the conflict is going to be for your story, but how hard is it to develop that conflict despite you knowing what the conflict is? Like just writing.
I'm gonna go first on this one and say
go right ahead.
Very hard. because and like I said, like the best types of conflicts I feel are like the really nuanced ones, like not the super explicit right in your face. And like I'm trying to do that, but I'm still learning and trying to figure it out. So trying to make it nuanced and also understandable and relatable all at the same time is very challenging. When I'm dealing with like all these new things and trying to world build at the same time and make these like interesting, compelling characters and also like side characters, it's very hard to like get a good grasp on that conflict, I feel. And I'm going to develop them more later, but yeah, I'll let Harley.
The issue isn't like doing the conflict and like having people like see it and understand it. I think the problem is getting to the conflict and like trying to fill in that blank space, because like obviously you can't just, well you could, but you can't just have like an entire story where it's just conflict. You need some downtime for like some character development that doesn't happen from like dealing with conflict. You need that little bit of filler to make it to actually make it like enjoyable. And so my issue is not like developing the conflict. That's not my issue. My issue is getting to the conflict so that I can develop it.
Mhm.
And
No,
like internal conflict isn't that hard to get to because it's in your character already.
Yeah.
It's already there. It's the external conflict it's hard to get to.
Mhm, mhm.
And that's my only problem.
Yeah, I can kind of building off that. I feel like my entire because I'm through the first act of this story. I feel like it was mostly driven by Tom's internal conflict of him battling with like this other side of him and like losing control a little bit and trying to figure out what's going on with himself, and that's been driving it up until this point. But at the end of this act, I kind of lifted the curtain a little bit as to what that is. And so now from here on out, most of the driving force is going to have to be that external conflict.
Mm-hmm.
So making that switch is going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think it'll be good for you though, like in terms of learning and developing your skills as a so.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I was just kind of thinking about that, like how hard is it to do that? So now I have more insight.
Yeah, it's not creating anything's not easy.
Yeah,
no,
as we have seen.
Yeah.
You don't make Juno on your first try. And I just really liked Juno.
Rome wasn't built in a day.
Rome wasn't built. Juno wasn't filmed or written in a day. Juno, as in the Roman goddess Juno.
Here Zander goes again to talk about Juno.
Juno's a good. It's a watch. Juno.
It's a good movie.
It's a great movie.
I will accept it because it's a fantastic movie.
Yeah. I definitely want to see it.
Hey, the other movies I've talked about, the other tangents I've gone on, have been about good movies too. I've never gone on a tangent about a bad movie.
One of your tangents, obviously, as everyone knows, was about rom-coms. And not
good
all
movies
rom-coms are good.
There's a lot.
I like a lot. I mean, a lot of rom-coms that I've watched, like, they're pretty solid.
Yeah. Or like, if we're talking, sorry, I got so excited. If we're talking about conflicts, freaking When Harry Met Sally is fantastic. It's so good, but like that movie is like all conflict between Harry and Sally.
Yeah,
and then, because it just all the scenes are like them like meeting up every few years, like randomly. Yeah. So like starts the entire like first like 10-15 minutes is them like having an argument like on this road trip. And then like they meet up again and then like it comes back up and they're like fighting.
Dude, as I said earlier, rom-coms are a good example of conflict.
Yeah.
Like, whether people like them or not, it is a great example.
Yeah, because you're like, oh, these people hate each other, and then their conflict kind of like grows into more of like a chummy, like kind of, and then like romance.
Their external conflict helps build their internal conflict of their emotions for each other.
It also helps that it's like a very relatable conflict for a lot of people. Like that's because
everybody wants love.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
guys, can we just start a separate podcast where we talk about how rom-coms can be used to dissect every part of the creative process?
The rom-com.
I feel like we already did. It's this podcast.
We're gonna call it the rom-com cast.
Yeah, that's good. I'm writing that down. Rom-com cast. I'm making that eventually. Mark my words.
Dude, we just need to have a podcast episode where we just talk about rom-coms.
Yeah, that would be a perfect.
We watch a rom-com already. What are you talking about?
That's Harley.
No, except Harley and I actually contribute to the conversation, and it's not just
me talking.
I feel like this episode's starting to become an episode that's just about rom-coms.
Well, this episode actually had a point about becoming about rom-coms.
Yeah.
Not just it coming up random. What was the title of the episode that was about rom-coms? What were we actually talking about?
I don't remember.
I'll check real quick. Give me a sec.
Because it was something that had nothing to do with rom-coms. This at least we're able to tie it to it a little bit.
Yeah, no, this one we're actually staying on topic with the rom-coms.
Yeah. But except for now where we've been talking probably for 5 minutes about rom-com, about how we're talking about rom-coms.
Let's see here.
No, but just think like a podcast where
Um,
like we watch one rom-com a week and then like
Dead.
have a discussion about it, like a book club.
it was either crafting a story or staying motivated. It was either of the.
I think it was staying motivated
Was it
because
staying
rom-coms
motivated?
were what was motivating me.
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah,
Oh man!
Yeah, rom-coms get Xander going.
they do
Holy
get me
cow,
going.
guys! This
Now
is
I'm watching this
episode
really good
9.
rom-com anime now. Yeah, it is. It's technically episode 10 too because of the special.
Oh jeez!
Yeah,
Dude, 10 episodes.
I'm proud of us.
It took
yeah.
10 episodes to get to Cheems.
It did. It took 10 episodes for us to get to rom-coms, except it
Dude, our
didn't. It
first
only-
episode seems like so long ago. Like, it
That's
just,
crazy.
wow.
It was
Yeah,
at
it
least
is.
10 weeks ago.
Yeah. Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, because we
Time
started this at
flies.
the beginning of the summer, man.
Look
If
at
Yeah.
if you are shocked that we've made it this far, like, comment, and subscribe.
Yeah.
Share it with your friends. Yeah. Any last words about conflict? I guess any conflict you want to create about conflict with me.
Yeah, Xander, let's have a conflict.
Okay,
You
let's have.
and
Okay, what's our conflict?
You're
what's a good
conflicted of feelings for each other. We're gonna
Yes.
make it a rom-com.
Yeah, let's make
Is
this
this
a rom-com.
podcast going to be a rom-com where at first we hate each other and then we slowly grow to like you guys hate me for liking rom-coms so much, but then you
No.
guys slowly get super into rom-coms as we go.
But let's like have the thing that we fight about be about like a rom-com movie. Like,
Yes. What's a yeah, no, it's how you didn't like
Gigi's storyline.
you didn't like the main storyline in
Yeah.
He's Just Not That Idiot.
Oh, man. I haven't
That's-
seen that movie
no.
yet. I think we have it, but I haven't watched it.
I think is it on Netflix?
I have it on.
It's
We
on
have it on
Netflix right
DVD
now.
here.
Perfect.
but
I need to
haven't
buy
watched
I
it.
need to buy Juno on Blu-ray. I need to add that to my
Yeah, I'd really
That was
like to watch.
just-
You know.
that was such I want to watch it again, honestly.
Well,
Yeah,
I think we've covered conflict
there's
pretty well.
I think
there's
we've covered
internal,
conflict.
external. You want a blend of the two. You want like
Yeah.
sub conflicts.
Yeah, you want them to. You want one of them to build off the other.
and you want them
Yeah.
to build off the main theme or whatever message you're trying to get across. Like
Yeah.
my themes of ambiguity or Harley's themes of
Of
body horror,
depression and
Depression,
like
yeah.
mental illness and like
Mhm.
dealing with an acceptance.
Yeah,
A lot of it's about acceptance, just because like you have to understand that like maybe it's not going to work out, and you know what? As long as you try your best to make it work out, then
That's what
you
matters.
did all you could.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
That's a great lesson
Well,
to learn.
yeah.
And on that note, thank you all. So I was thinking about just like changing the mood dramatically and just bringing it up. Thank you all so much for thought
No,
about
dude,
it,
you
but-
almost went to like an ASMR voice. That was great.
really. Thank
Yeah,
you all
you
so
did.
much. Thank you all so much for listening to this
Dude.
podcast.
Oh
Is
my
that good?
God.
Is
Oh my god.
Dude, please stop.
are you not entertained? Okay. Thank you for listening to A Piece of Our Minds every week. We love you all when you do it.
Yes.
If you want to reach out to us and show us some love, all of our ats for Twitter and Instagram, because those are the main things we use, are in the descriptions of every single place you can find this podcast. Speaking of every single place you can find this podcast, did you know that the place you're listening to it right now is not the only option you have? Because you can listen to it on Anchor, Breaker, Overcast, Pocket Cast, RadioPublic, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and finally Apple Podcasts after all this time. Which I'm very proud of. Leaving reviews on all of that is very helpful for helping us grow and
Yes.
reach more people.
yes.
And we really appreciate if you do that. Also, you
Yes.
can find the video. We post the Zoom call that we record this on every single week on our YouTube channel, Let Us Rock Productions.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll say the one more time. Let Us Rock Productions, our YouTube channel. Like, subscribe, please. That is probably the best way you can support us is by subscribing to Let Us Rock. We are going to throw up more short films and projects as we make them. Honestly, making a rom-com cast sounds like a really good time, and I'm honestly going to think more on that now. But until that point, tune into A Piece of Our Minds every Monday at noon for our weekly episode about
Yes.
some other topic
Yeah.
next week
Yes.
that
we
we'll
will-
figure out like 10 minutes before the
Yeah.
episode.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. gonna
Yeah,
be great.
so yeah, it will be great. And as always, I love you all.
Yeah.
Even
thank-
Aaron and Harley.
Yeah.
Harley, take it away.
Yeah.
Thank you all so much once again for letting us give you a piece of our minds.
I don't even have anything clever
Wow.
to say. That was just a solid ending.
So, yeah.
Wonderful.